Welcome to the Houston Huddle, where knowledge meets the game. 3 voices, every angle and beyond the headlines. Xavier Houston is a sports encyclopedia of knowledge, with a deep inside look at the recruiting landscape, from prospects to pipelines. He sees the whole board. Simeon Houston brings it play by play, thought by thought, breaking down the game with logic, clarity, and a deep understanding of how all the pieces fit together. And rounding out the huddle, Martin Houston, national champion, 2-time SEC champion, with insight forged in the field of play, with an unmatched passion for sports, leadership, and life. Together, they take you from the locker room
to the field, to inside the huddle. 3 voices, every angle,
beyond the headlines.
This is the Houston Huddle.
Now it's time to lock in.
It's time for the Huddle. The Houston Huddle.
The Houston Huddle.
It's time for the Huddle. The Houston Huddle.
Don't forget to like, follow, subscribe, and share on your favorite social platform. And let's get in the game.
It's time for the Houston Huddle We're live, local, and ready to get things rolling right here. We're glad that you've chosen to get on here with us. Sammy and I are going to be driving the ship. We're still missing that third voice, so we invite you to get in on this edition of the Houston Huddle. Three voices, every angle beyond the headlines. In other words, you're going to hear, see, and talk about things you might not get to hear, see, and talk about anywhere else. So we invite you to get in on it. Remember that this is a day that the Lord has made. So let's jump on in and get in on it, and let's be the difference we want to see in the world today. Um, where do we want to go? What do we want to do? What do we want to talk about? What we want to talk about is Alabama football, Simeon. I mean, you know, um, I had an opportunity to go by practice and see a little bit, but I went as an alumni, which means I can't talk about what I saw. I mean, I had a few minutes as the media, but everything else was as the alumni. Didn't get to make it to media days yesterday, unfortunately, but I did see something on media days. I thought it was pretty good. Uh, and so after what I saw that video clip, Simeon, I'm ready to name my starter. If you missed it, man, Mac threw a pass to a kid, uh, and uh, and he hit that the coffin corner, Simeon. I mean,
Ryan Coleman Williams would have been able to have you know, that's an NFL catch type of throw where he get
that's
both
right.
feet in.
Yeah, the kid got both feet in, didn't he?
That's what it looked like.
Yeah. So I thought that was pretty impressive. Anyway, we're having fun with that. Um, Alabama is going to be okay at quarterback. Okay. Um, I can't talk about, like I said, the specifics of what I saw, but be encouraged, Alabama fans. Um, there are some things that I want to see from this team, and I hope we're going to see it. Um, and, uh, and we want to talk to you about it. So, Simeon, I guess the first thing, and it's going to be a quick podcast here, but when it comes to Alabama football, Simeon, this team, 2020 six version of the Alabama Crimson Tide. If I gave you, and you may have more than one word, but the first word, if you wanted to describe this team, what would it be that you would want to describe from an identity standpoint? From an identity standpoint, what would be your description of what you want to see? What you want to see from this Alabama team?
Intense intensity. Just because of what you saw from actually no, I changed that.
Oh,
I'm
uh
gonna say consistency. From
oh.
because when we saw last year where there were times where Alabama looked like the number one, a top 10 national championship contender. And then there were other games where Alabama looked like they were struggling to qualify to be bowl eligible based off of their ineptness on offense and defense. I mean, Florida State, for both sides of the ball, was a beatdown, and Alabama didn't even look like they really belonged outside of that first drive. And that
So
shows just like within one game because if you remember, Bama fans, the first drive of that game, Alabama went down the field. I think it was a 9 or 10 play drive. Run game that was the best the run game looked the entire season.
yes.
Um, and so when you see that, you want to see just consistency in that one game for another. You don't want to have a beat down or a shock upset like Florida State every year to rally the troops. You want to be able to just start week one or week zero or whatever and say we're this is who we're going to be, and it doesn't matter if we win, lose, or draw.
Yeah, you don't want to have to always have some type of external motivation to get you going. You want to be able um, the you want to be able to show up regardless of who the opponent is. And Saban used to call it consistency of performance, right? And that's what you're talking about. And so I agree with that term, consistency of performance. But I would also ask you kind of maybe a follow up to that because I have a word that like I said, I can't talk about I can't talk about the specifics, but let me tell you, this team is intense, Simeon. I talk to some people there at practice all the time, um, and they said there's a different air. There's a different air out there. And when I walked out on the field, I felt it. I mean, I know that sounds crazy, but I felt a different air. Uh, so when you say consistency, is there a mindset that you want to see? Because intensity would be a word that would quickly pop and rise to the top of my head um, when I look at this team.
Yeah, I mean there has to be a mindset from the jump, and I don't know. Maybe the correct word for that mindset would be. I mean, is it an intense? Heavy hitter said a hateful mindset. In a roundabout way, I can see where he's coming from with that. I would say like just that a winner's mindset. I mean, I don't know. I'm gonna have to think about that word for the type of mindset that you have to bring that consistency.
Yeah, definitely. Um, that's what I'm saying is, Simeon, when you look at it from the mindset of consistency, what type of mindset do you want? Consistency of performance, but you don't want to be consistently bad. You don't want to consistently soft. You want to be, and I like that. Hey, heavy hitter said hateful. He's looking for a hateful football team. You know, one of those teams. DeBoer said he wants to show up um, and make sure that they understand that Alabama is present without you saying anything. And if you're going to do that, intensity is one of those words. Physicality is another one for me. I would
Yeah,
have to say that just watching this team progressively from scrimmage to practice, this team is all the physicality and the intensity that I saw Saturday that I saw was crazy. It was, I mean, it was like yes, like I walked out of there being a former Alabama player, going yes, this is it, man. This is coach is he's got his dudes now, um, and they are pushing toward what he wants. Um, and remember, he said, Simeon, when he did the interview with us, what did he say? He said, "You cannot." We people have a misunderstanding when you throw the ball around that physicality is not a part of what you want to do. And he said that is what we want to be. He said when we had those other teams that were successful at the other places, we always had a physical element to what we do. And so that would be my word is physicality. I want Alabama if we like Florida State physically beat us down. Like they punked us.
absolutely.
Right? Indiana punked us. And that's the bookends. And unfortunately, those are the bookends. The Georgia game didn't even feel as physical of a beatdown as Indiana and Florida State, in my
N-
opinion. Even though they beat
No,
us bad.
no,
Go ahead.
yeah. No, I agree. I don't think the Georgia game, just in the sense of like physicality, I don't think it didn't feel as bad. Like Indiana, it looked like, especially towards the end of the game, it felt so bad. It felt like Alabama didn't have a singular chance of winning that game ever.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a secure beatdown, and if we're going to be a team that's consistent, we're gonna have to have that intensity, that physicality, make them quit, type of mentality. Uh, what I don't want to see is another beatdown like that, Simeon. Uh, but what about doing the opposite, right? What about Alabama delivering one of those games? Do you feel like have we delivered one of those games yet? Have we delivered one of those games where you walked away and you felt you felt like the opponent felt the same way as we did after Florida State in Indiana? Have we made anybody feel that way?
3 quarters of 2024 against Georgia at Bryant Denny.
Yeah, but we didn't finish.
I was about to say that's the closest to a complete game that I've seen where Alabama dominated from start to finish. But I don't think Alabama, not in 2 years, no, have just completely unless you talk not of equal talent team, not of equal or close to talent
Playoff
wise.
caliber teams. I want us this year, instead of us having a low ceiling, I mean a low floor where we lose some of these. I want to see Alabama, and I think they can do it. And I'm hoping they do it because of some of the people out there. I'm not even going to give them the street cred to mention their name on the show, but there's a couple national guys, ESPN guys, former SEC guys that are just dogging Alabama, dogging Coach DeBoer, calling him soft, calling him weak, saying he to quit. I'm really hoping to see Alabama in 2026 put up one of those types of games where against a really good opponent, right? Like
Agreed.
if they do that against in the first 5 games, if they do that to Florida State, it's going to be whatever. Florida State's not that good, right? It's going to have to be one of those in that 4 game stretch of Georgia and
No,
Tennessee. Go ahead.
LSU. I mean LSU 2024
Okay.
is that
Well,
if
yeah,
I think you can count that one. LSU was a little bit better in 24 than they were in 25. I
yeah,
think Alabama somewhat dominated that game,
they did. They
but
did.
it still once again it took what 5 minutes of conversation for me to even think about that,
Yeah,
and
we need.
so that shows that the other games as a whole never really felt that way at all.
Yeah, and so the other part then, Simeon, from that, in terms of this team, um, which one do you think is more likely to drive the identity of Alabama football? Because right now we have a swarm defense, and I've heard Alabama fans say they don't like it. They just they just don't like it. It's a 3-3-5. They don't like the swarm. Now I heard Coach Womack um, just providing some assistance and coaching with some um, 11, 10, 11, 12 year olds. I think 11 and 12 year olds. Um, and it helped me understand when he said swarm what he meant. And I watched. He did a drill to teach that principle, Simeon. And the drill was he would go back and he was playing quarterback, and he would go back and he would hand it off to the running back, and every player was expected to run to the ball, like run to the ball, and so the DBs, he was like, okay, DBs, I just hand the ball off. Whose ball is it? And the DB would go, it's mine, and they would all swarm to the ball. But then he would do a pass play, and the lineman would rush. And when he would throw the ball, they had to turn and run to where the ball was thrown. And he said, because there are times that we have thought that someone else was going to make the tackle, and we stopped, and it didn't happen. And you know what play I thought about?
Which one?
Florida State, Bray Hubbard.
Bray Hubbard. Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, but
That's what it looked like. Yeah,
yeah, like literally, hey, someone else got it. Someone else got it. Nobody has it. Oh my goodness, I need to go after it. And so
yep.
the mindset is that you swarm to the ball to the guys on the ground. Uh, and he said to tackle a man, it takes a violent act. So will the defense provide with that mindset? Do you think defense is going to provide that identity that Alabama has been missing? Can a 3-3-5 be perceived as a physically dominant, nasty, I don't want to play them type of team? Or will it be the offense? Alabama is, I know we got a lot of young guys on that offensive side of the ball, Simeon, but they are big. They are big. They are athletic. They have made an improvement. There is a bump up in every single position when you look at it. There's nowhere where Alabama looks less athletic than they were last year on the offensive side of the ball. And there's a lot of competition. And so the question is, can that look and can that intensity translate to a physical football team?
Absolutely. And to answer the first part of your question, a 3-3-5 can, I mean, be as physical in my opinion as any other defense. It's not really the 3-3-5 that makes, or the 4-3 or the 3-4 or whatever 4-2-5 or whatever that makes a defense physical. It's the players that you have that make you physical or not physical. And so these guys this year, I mean, I don't I don't know if you were able to see Caleb Woodson or anything like that. As a linebacker, he looks the part. Transfer from Virginia Tech. He
Oh,
looks the part. Luke Metz
yeah.
looks the part.
Yes, he does.
Uh,
Yes,
Terrence
he does.
Green looks the part.
Yes, he does.
Devin Tompkins looks the part. Yanze Pierre, Xavier Brown, Dejon Lee, a 6'4" defensive back. They look the part. And now and we've seen how their career has progressed. They've changed. I mean, they physically have changed their bodies from spring. I don't know what. I think Coach Blue or whatever, or maybe he must have read that article that was written about you, because the difference in the body types, shapes from last year that were on the field to this year, it's totally different. Totally different. Now that has to do with another year of recruiting, another year of getting their guys on the field, but they also have to put, some people are blessed enough to look like that naturally. A lot of us aren't. And so you can tell that they've put in time in the weight room to look the part physically.
Yeah, and like I said, you can go position by position, Simeon, and say the offensive line looks more athletic, but there is intensity on that football field like I haven't seen in a while. I mean, I was talking to one guy, and I said, I'm not sure that this team isn't more physical. Um, right now than they were in the scrimmage. And he laughed and he said, man, I've seen 7-on-7s this year. And he said, you would have thought that they had pads on.
Yeah.
And I said, and you're talking about wide receivers and defensive backs. I mean, and running backs and line. You're not even talking about the dudes in the trenches. So definitely a part of it. And Timmy, if you had to, this is the crazy part. If I were to ask you which group do you think, like when you see which group you sending off the bus first, okay? Which group you sending off the bus first? Uh, I have a group that I'm gonna send off the bus first, and it's crazy to think that this is the group I'm sending off the bus first. Who?
I don't know. There's like three or four groups that just that I think you would couldn't go wrong with. But if I had to guess, or if it was me looking at the team I'm probably sending the D line off first.
And that's not a bad idea. Not a bad idea because it's between that group and this group. You know who I'm sending out the bus first?
Who?
First of all, heavy hitter. He said, watching the defensive line drills, they look completely different physically and look quicker than they did last year. Nothing like competition to make you hustle.
It's a little different when you know the
when there's
next the next person behind you is clearly not as good as you. This
yeah,
year,
but this year now that they are the defensive line. The reason they look quicker is because if they're not quicker, there's guys waiting to chomping at the bit. But it blew my mind when I looked at the tight end room.
mm.
What's the name has to be 6'7". I can, hey 6'7", 6'7". Six. I mean, Caleb Edwards has to be 6'7". He he is bigger. I mean, I was like, wow. And then when you get to the guys like if in a typical tight end year, the freshman would look good, but he looked like a freshman compared to everybody else. When
Ooh.
you look at all the other running backs, Sutter,
Oh.
and typically he would look like Danny Lewis. Man, these are good looking players. They just look good. I hope the look translates,
Hey,
Simeon.
you what you don't want is look like Tarzan,
Play like
play
James.
like Jane.
Yeah,
Uh, and we Alabama unfortunately has had a couple of those guys over the past few years. Not This didn't start with DeBoer.
no.
Uh, Towards the tail end of Saban, there were cracks for sure showing.
Cracks in the
Um,
foundation.
for sure. But like you said, Max Sutter as a freshman tight end is 6'5", 248 pounds.
and
As
looks
a
good. And looks good. But when you put him beside Lewis,
I mean,
Ford,
he is the smallest tight end on
yeah,
the team.
yeah. Lindsey. I mean, you just take Pritchett, Edwards, you just put them out there, and I'm sending that group out of the locker room because
Fair enough.
they're an impressive looking book. But let's as we get ready to wrap up, because by the time we do this again, Alabama would have had their first scrimmage. So let's just answer a few questions. Will uh, Alabama have a starter named after scrimmage number one? The scrimmage is Thursday. This Thursday.
No, I'm going to say no. Um, just because of I think both of these guys are uber talented, and unless either Austin Mack or Keelan Russell like is clear, I don't think they'll do it just out of respect for the battle that they've had the entire
Yeah.
spring, summer, and into fall camp.
Unless a guy implodes, Um, it's too quick to. It'll be it. I mean, they're still battling, and when they make the decision, guys, they're just making a decision because they have to make one. If there was a way to play two quarterbacks, and
Effectively,
if you could play two quarterbacks the same way you play two running backs or five wide receivers, both of these guys would be running out there on the field at different times. Okay, that's how good both of these guys and the command that they show. So I agree. I don't think we'll know one. I think we'll know one after the second. I think they will honor what they said. I think they will. I think they'll finally make a decision, but it won't be because the other guy is not good enough. The only thing that would make me change my mind is if one of these guys implode. Okay,
which
which they haven't done. After 2 years of battling, they haven't imploded. So I don't see that happening
Agree.
anytime soon. I thought one of the tight ends comment was you have the prototypical NFL quarterback, and you have dynamite in a box. Okay, so and that's what they're having to make the decision on.
And
And
I would say that those are the two like probably best um descriptions for both of those guys without like dissing one or
yeah,
the other. I think those are both two fair
assessment.
assessments of, of them.
Yeah, and Army EP 6 FZ will answer your question here in just a minute about the punt returner. We'll get to that, but I don't think that running back Simeon, who's going to be the starter, who's going to have the best day, and who makes the biggest move from the running back room? Uh, will Daniel Hill come out of scrimmage one as a starter, and who will be number two? And will there be anyone making a move?
I think Daniel Hill will at least enter scrimmage one as RB1. Depending on how tomorrow and Tuesday goes, I might have to update my answer. But I do think that he will probably stay running back one throughout scrimmage one. But I think that EJ and AK Deer are right there. Uh and probably by scrimmage two might be co-starter uh with Daniel Hill and EJ.
And I know I hate when people say this, but I have to say it this way. No disrespect to Jam Miller. He will be number 6 on this team.
If these guys were all the same age,
Jam,
Cam
Jam Miller.
Cam Miller,
Jam Miller
I
would be the 6th string running back.
I think
If
every
they were
running back since Jameer Gibbs would be
Yeah. And
near
if
the
they
bottom.
were all the same age, if they were all the same age, 1 and 2 would possibly be EJ and Brown.
That is
I'm
interesting.
telling you, I think Brown, some people saying, man, they found a diamond in the rough, and I've said that same statement, but I think Brown may be Brown, he's legit. I think he's one of those guys that um I say it now, Brown will be remembered the way Josh Jacobs was. I
Great memory.
mean,
Great way to be remembered.
if he stays at Alabama, he will be remembered in that capacity. So my starter is going to be Daniel Hill. I think Daniel has got his body and his work ethic and the grasp of the playbook. I think you're going to see a different Daniel Hill than we saw last year. This Daniel Hill is so much better than the one that's played last year.
Mhm.
So I think you're going to see that. I think that you saw it in the spring, and I've heard nothing but good things in the summer. I heard a staffer say he's going to be a workhorse this year. So I just heard someone over talking. I didn't wasn't anything necessarily different than that, but the staffers I heard someone just commenting about it. Um, but I think that's the case. Then I think there's going to be a battle. We heard Grubb say it. He has to learn to practice and learn the playbook. I don't know if he'll have that down by Thursday. If he does, you're going to see Crowell. Um, he's Avatar for running back. He's Avatar. So um, I think you see him. And man, I just can't get over Riley. Just kind of he still just
He's there.
he like I don't know what he like old hangnail. He just keep hanging around, baby. He's there, and he's not going away. He's not going away. Um, I mean, but Deer is legit. And I tell you what I think about Brown. So Alabama, I think run game is better, Simeon. Run game is better. It's gonna be better. It's gonna be better. It's gonna be better. Um, O line, uh, 3 days of practice. You want to name a different starter? You want to you
I
want to?
think Mal Waltrip will still run out there first for the at least for this scrimmage.
You think Waldrop is the starter, and then everybody else is the same?
James is out there right tackle, yeah.
James right tackle, Carroll, God,
Well, oh,
Delgado.
okay. From left to right tackle, I'll go Lloyd, Waldrop, Delgatti, Carroll, James.
Okay, and I can't. I'm still going with Will, my man. I just.
No, I think will
But you're
be
saying
starter. I
scrimmage
think Will
one,
will be starter September 5th. I just think he's still working through it.
working to get.
And from what everybody say that Mal Waldrop is no, it's not like he's just there because
He's not. He's
he's
not
not there
taking
just
reps.
to be there.
He's
He's
not
there.
taking reps because they don't have a, a,
Exactly.
a left guard. He in the words of Grub, he's taking reps, meaning that he is forcing you to have to consider him in that lineup. So uh wide receiver, any change to your wide receiver group? Which guy has
Mm,
which guy
no,
has the
actually, yes.
okay.
Yeah, I think 4 deep is going to be RCW, Lobster Brooks, Derek Meadows, Sedarian Morgan. I don't think you can keep Sedarian Morgan off the field. I don't. I mean, I'm
So
not
say
saying who's
say your
RCW, Ryan Coleman Williams, Lobster Brooks. I'm going Derek Meadows as my wide receiver 3, and Sedarian Morgan as the
okay.
fourth guy.
So you think he's gonna
Yeah.
jump in front of Rico?
Yes and no. I mean, there's different wide receiver positions. There's X, Y, Z, and so I think for that deep threat, I think I don't know. I don't know.
I,
It just depends. It just depends on formational wise. I think it just depends on what because I think Rico might be backing up Lotzier Brooks, but
yeah.
he'll play a lot. Just he's number 2 behind Lotzier Brooks in my opinion.
Well, I love what Grubb said. Is there? He said when he talked, he said, "What makes our offense go is when we can move guys in and out and swap them around and move them around and have Ryan on the outside, have Ryan on the slot, and you cannot, you cannot go. Okay, we're going to shut Ryan Williams down with this formation, this scheme defensively because he may not be at that outside receiver, or he may not be at the slot receiver, or he may not be on the short side of the field or the wide. If they're moving him around, I'm gonna tell you, um, so Darren Morgan looks the Julio Jones part. Okay,
It's scary to even compare him to Julio Jones, but it's the number. It's him being 6'4", 220, some 220 plus as a fresh like that's Julio. That's Julio.
you know what I love the most about Sedarian Morgan? That he didn't run from it. He was being compared to Julio Jones. And me and a couple of guys were talking last Friday, and we talked about he didn't run from it. He
Hmm.
embraced the comparison, and then came in here and said, "Yeah, give me number 8. I'm not afraid of the comparison." So to
That
me,
already speaks volumes of him.
yeah, that spoke a lot to me. Um, I love how they get after it. So can't wait. I'm going to try my best to make it to the scrimmage Thursday and see if all this stuff we're talking about bears out. Who you got running across that front again? Uh, anybody?
Offensive line wise,
Hold on. Back on the wide receivers real quick. Which guy catches the first touchdown?
Ryan. Yeah, Ryan Coleman Williams for sure. Just what I think. Yeah, Yeah, I mean the way like if you go now, I don't now last week on the Martin Hughes show we talked about how pictures don't mean everything. But I am going to bring up a picture and for good reason. I think you can look into this one. Every single time I've seen them post a picture of Ryan catching a football, it's with his hands, it's out from his body, he's not catching it in his body, and he doesn't have gloves on.
Interesting. I hadn't
N-
noticed that.
Now, so you can go back and fact check me if I'm wrong, but I think that he's going to be different this year. And I think that just with everything, the outside noise hasn't appeared to get to him. I think he's just going to be. I think he's going to play himself into millions of dollars this
Oh,
year.
yeah, and Army EP 6 FZ said Brooks is my vote, and I can't disagree with that. Um, I think if they try to go over the top, though, you might see Morgan get that first touchdown. So, what
Yeah.
about first touchdown for the running backs? I forgot to ask that.
It that also just depends on if it's goal line or not. If it's not goal line, I'm going to say EJ breaks one. If it's goal line, Daniel Hill
So, you think EJ is going to have the longest run of the day?
for sure. I think
Okay.
he's gonna. I think he's. I mean, because if you just look at what he's done in high school, now granted, high school 4A football not the same as SEC football, but there's certain things that he's you once you got it, you got it, and his breakaway speed at that next level is one of the best I've seen from an Alabama running back in the last several years.
Yeah, he definitely has it. And when you look at what Grubb said, he definitely has a lot. He has over the toes. He has great balance. He runs bigger than he is, and he's already one of the bigger running backs. He has top end speed. He has great hands. But the question is, will he block? And if he gets the blocking figured out, he will be the starter, or he'll get starter reps. He'll get starter reps. Um, if a guy's playing winning football and he's playing winning football, and the other guy doesn't show him up, then I don't. I don't. I'm one of those, I guess, old school mindsets. You get starter reps, but that guy's still a starter too. So, and I think Daniel Hill's going to bring that to the table. Defensively, we'll talk defense, and then quick special team note, and we'll get out of here. But defense, who gets the first sack?
Yanze, yeah. I mean, I think they're gonna line Yanze up on Lloyd, and as good as we think Lloyd is, I think he's gonna have a welcome to the SEC. I mean, because Lloyd, I mean, Yanze was doing this to guys
Lloyd,
that playing
he's
on
mean.
Sundays right now.
He's mean, Simeon.
He's who?
Lloyd.
Yeah, well, so is Yanze.
He better be.
And I
I
think
think
Yanze. I think Yanze is
Lloyd, not
well.
hey Simeon, not the Lord, but in Lloyd, I believe. In
See,
Lloyd, we trust. That's
if
what.
but I don't think that's
Why
indicative
you didn't put
of
Yonzay on the other side? Why you gonna put Yonzay on? You don't think he was gonna do that to
mental,
James?
mental,
Okay.
mental stuff. You gotta. You, he's gonna play against. I mean, he's gonna have to do that. He's gonna have to block Dylan Stewart from South Carolina.
Yeah.
You
Hey.
saw what Dylan Stewart did to Alabama last year.
Yeah.
Caden Proctor.
Tompkins, man. I'm going with Tompkins.
That defensive line is
Actually, I might need to go with one of the DBs. I may have to go with that swarm
on a
factor.
blitz.
Yeah, I may
He
have
got
to go with
Sab on a
or Bray on that
yeah,
corner.
yeah,
That number 18, he's a baller. He's a
yeah.
baller. Yeah. So Um,
You can't, but you can't
I,
be one of those
huh?
tag up sacks. You can't be
Yeah,
getting.
and truthfully, I would rather it be Bray than one of the defensive linemen because I'd rather our offensive line had that front set up, settled.
But then remember, you have to give and take on that as well,
That's right.
because you don't want because if this offensive line just sets an anchor on this defensive line, what do you think people are going to be saying?
That the defensive line is overrated.
Exactly. But if the defensive line dominates, you're like, well, okay, well they are, but then there's still going to be questions for the defensive line because you're like, oh, well, they're just bad.
Yeah, I understand. We'll have some give and take wins there. Uh, anything? Who's going to be? See if you want to change. You still got Woodson and
I'm giving it to Mets. I'm giving it to Mets. I'm giving it to yeah. I'm gonna give it to Mets.
yeah,
Um,
and unfortunately, I mean not unfortunately. I think I'm leaning Mets as well. Uh, in terms of he's a bigger body, doesn't mean he's as much of a baller. But I think both of those young guys are gonna show well this year. I think you'll see, like we saw the three guys last year. I think you're gonna see at least those three guys, Reese, Woodson, and Metz, kind of holding down the inside linebacker role. The Bandits and the Wolves and D line, there's a lot of guys you're gonna see play a lot of reps. I think that
I agree.
I don't think you're gonna see what happened to Alabama and Indiana happen, where they're just running at will at the end of a game. I don't think you're gonna see that again. I think because of the number of bodies, big bodies, athletic bodies that Alabama's gonna be able to throw at people, you're gonna see Alabama, especially if they have a lead, be able to just take over games. But if they need to, you know, stop the run and get the ball back when the team's trying to run out the clock, I think they're going to have the bodies and the numbers to do that. Listen, we can just hold off on the um, when you look at it from the defensive backfield. They just
Agreed.
good. They just good. They just good. Real quick, special teams, anything jumping out at you there? And we'll also circle back on Army's question regarding the punt returner. Kickoff return is what it is. There's really
It doesn't really
not
matter.
a lot
Yeah.
of excitement there. Um,
I think Lorcan Quinn is going to be the field goal kicker. I think that punter is Adam Watford, transfer from North Alabama. Kickoff specialist is Connor Talty.
who's the punt
Punt,
returner? That's the big question.
punt returner, I'm off Ryan for now. I'm gonna say Lotzer Brooks.
I haven't seen anything to say Lasher Brooks, but for some reason he seems like a
He does look like a punt returner,
he
does
look
he
like he
not?
would be a guy that would really be good. And is it possible that they didn't use him at all in that role last year because he was a freshman and having to learn so much? But now
For
he's
sure.
one of the returning vets. Would they give him a chance? I think we need a. I think you know Cole Adams for what he did last year, but he was back there to secure punts because we didn't have a great front. Um, out there to stop and keep people off. And so there were times where we probably could have had some returns, but for the most part, we didn't have opportunities to make plays in Alabama. It felt like to me, I could be wrong. Felt like they just made the decision. Let's just catch the ball and go from there. I think this year they're going to try to make some plays in the special teams game,
I
especially
agree.
punt return. And so Brooks would be one of my votes. Um, Possibly one of the freshmen could get out there. A guy like Sab, tiny and small, but
He buffed up though.
huh?
You're I mean, he buffed up. Did you
Yeah.
not see his
So he what
his up
170 now?
uh let me see.
but he's one of the guys that I thought like he could be one of the guys that could make it make a difference. That
Agreed. I
yeah.
think he got up to 180. I think.
What?
I think.
Yeah, check that out. As you're checking that out, that now he's not a little bitty guy now. If he because he was 5'9", about 155, 160. I like I said, he's one of those guys I think will be electric in space if he has the moxie. Because being a punt returner, it takes a special guy. It's a special guy. Um, so with that said, Simeon,
Yep, he's 5'9", 5'9", 180 right now.
oh well, he's not a little guy. Sorry, put some respect on his name. Little Sab, Big Sab now. But Simeon, who's your breakout guy? Um, you know, breakout offensive defensive guy, and what freshman makes a little noise? Any freshman you got jumping in there, making some noise potentially?
Freshman, uh, EJ Crowell, Sedarian Morgan, uh, breakout. I think Caleb Edwards has a really big breakout season this year. Just from
Talking
the
about
tight
just
end.
in the scrimmage, just in the
Oh,
scrimmage.
just in the scrimmage.
Yeah.
I think we're going to see some sparks from Xavier Griffin. If he gets, whenever he's able to be out there, I think we'll see some tight end play that we haven't seen in a while. Maybe some deep balls, just a more advanced route tree. We had Josh Cuevas, but I mean these guys are 3 inches taller than him and outweigh him by 20 pounds.
They're bigger
So
and more athletic than Josh. They may
yeah,
not have the jump. Josh Quavers had the jump. I mean, I don't know
right.
why he was going to hurdle at least one guy a game. Yeah, I could see that as well. Simi, when you look at it, I'm going to throw. I'm not even going to name which one, but this defense, this coaching staff has produced defensive backs, recruited great defensive backs, and they have come in and played and helped. And I think that trend continues. There will be another freshman, maybe two, uh, that we're talking about after scrimmage one. Next Sunday when we're on air, we'll be talking about one of those, at least one, if not two, sophomore guys from the. You already hit the offensive side of the guys. Um, I think you're going to see a little bit there, and maybe and the other guy I would go with is the linebacker play. I think he's one of those guys that could do it. You know, a guy that we hadn't mentioned, and I think he may he may be the next great one, pass rusher in the line of Will Anderson and Derek Thomas and those guys. I think Justin Hill. We probably sell him a little short just because not selling him short. He's not getting as much mention because he's behind, you know, Pierre. But look for
Yeah,
him when he's in there. I guarantee you he makes plays.
for
Uh,
sure.
so Bama fans, I know that the talking heads out there are down on this team a little bit. Um, I think this team, I think the board and this staff and Grub and them, I think they're going to fix the floor. Um, I don't think we're going to see those fall apart games where Alabama falls behind or starts to lose and it comes across as if they've quit. I think this team will have too much fight for that. I don't think we have any of those. We might not win all 12, but we're going to play competitive in all 12 and make a run into the playoffs. Um, and I think Army asked us, Simeon, what was a must win? Must win to me, yeah, we don't need to lose to Florida State 2 years in a row, of course. So I do agree with him there. But the last must win, I think the must win is um, I don't think Georgia is a must win, um, even though we might. win that. I think it's going to be the Tennessee and Texas A&M. I'm going to put those two together.
For
I think
me, and
if
I
we
know,
go ahead.
and I know this might come off as like a cliche. I think must win for right now is Kevin DeBoer September 5th against East Carolina, and I don't mean that to say just you know whatever, but I just don't want to see the start of the season be what it was last year. You don't want to put yourself in a 9 game SEC schedule where you're forced to win 9 of those games
And based
or
on
8 of
that,
those games.
man, I would say Kentucky. Because Kentucky is on the road. It's a lesser opponent. You should be more talented. And that's the type of game that Alabama hasn't done well in. Kentucky is to 2026 what Florida State was last year. New coach, new offensive mindset, new philosophy, believing they can do it. You can't let them jump on you.
And Vanderbilt 24
Yeah, and it's
too.
on the road. So to me, that's the trap game, I guess. Even though you're coming off of East Carolina, you cannot underestimate.
Either I mean, you just no underestimating anybody. Don't I mean next year we don't want to have this conversation.
If we have a loss, it needs to be to like a Georgia or LSU or
It needs to
Tennessee.
be an SEC game. I'm
It needs
just
to be
being at this
a
point full.
and it needs to be a competitive loss. If we have a loss, we cannot no blowouts.
Yeah, I
No bad
can't.
losses, no
Yeah.
losses to unranked teams, and no losses in beatdown fashion. That's the three.
Yep.
So, closing thoughts, man.
No, I'm excited to see what album can do this year. I've heard nothing but raving things about this team. The intensity levels of this team is something that Alabama hasn't seen uh, in the last few years, at least. And so, just to see them move along that path of playing physical and having that physical mindset. I'm looking forward to seeing them accomplish that starting on Thursday.
Starting on Thursday, a couple more days of practices tomorrow and Tuesday, I think, and then the big scrimmage on Thursday. We'll be breaking it down. This is the Houston Huddle, but we do the Martin Houston Show Monday through Friday from 6 to 7 each and every morning. You can like, follow, and share all of those. Thanks to those of you who have subscribed. Make sure you subscribe to the Houston Huddle. But join us also Monday through Friday from 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. I see Lisa Rawls Fish jumping in here, and we appreciate each of you. We're gonna have to come up with a name for this group. Can we call them maniacs? Because it used to be Martin's Maniacs, now it's just the Maniacs. So maybe we just keep calling them the same things, the Maniacs over here as well. So uh, I like that. We'll just keep it going. So subscribe, like, follow, share. We appreciate you being a part of the Houston Huddle. Hopefully, Xavier is going to be back in the captain's seat with us moving forward, and get in a part of it. I am from India. Okay, we got somebody from India liking and subscribing. All right, roll tide over in India. Army says, last thoughts. Army says we better go hard in the portal for O line and D line this year. Next year's schedule is a monster. So he's sold on us being good this year. He's
Yeah.
already worried about next year. All right, Army, hold things down in Mobile. Lisa, hold things down out there in Utah. For the rest of you, hold it down wherever you call home. Remember this: you can trust in the Lord always. Lean not your own understanding. In all your ways, acknowledge Him, and He will direct your paths. For Simeon Houston, I'm Martin Houston. That's Simeon Houston. This is the Houston Huddle. We'll be back next week. Same bat.